we've gone past Donald Trump. I think people kind of appreciate that now.
Do you think that?
Well, let me explain how.
Yeah.
I'm now looking at where the party leadership is trying to move itself. That small fraction of the party still has political, financial, and other sway and control over the leadership.
Yeah.
Marjorie Taylor Greene will be the most powerful speaker of the House, because she will have the opportunity to control what comes out of Kevin's mouth around the things that matter to that small cadre.
You're saying she's going to be speaker?
I'm saying she
Shadow
she'll be the
speaker.
puppeteer. She will be the, I just call the thing what it is.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and former chair of the RNC, Michael Steele, has a prediction that should give us all chills. He believes that Marjorie Trainwreck Greene will be the driving force behind Kevin McCarthy in the House.
I mean, you call it shadow, I call it the thing. It's the job. Because when you can't make that separation.
Yeah.
When she is you're dragging her to your events and you're propping up and you're telling her, not only are we going to put you back in committee, we're going to give you a powerful leadership role.
This makes a lot of sense, honestly. If you've been paying attention in the last 2 years, Marjorie Greene is the loudest mouth and is the most vocal about the most absurd things. So she will receive the most media attention, just like Trump. And that is the strategy by those that are staunch MAGA Republicans. They will replicate the behavior and tantrums of Donald Trump because their base loves it.
So obviously we have the Republicans winning back control barely of the House. One of the things that Kevin McCarthy has said is that he's going to strip you of your position on the House Intelligence Committee.
Well, I suspect he will do whatever Marjorie Taylor Greene wants him to do. He's a very weak leader of his conference, meaning that he will adhere to the wishes of the lowest common denominator. And if that lowest common denominator wants to remove people from committees, that's what they'll do. It's going to be chaos with a Republican leadership. And sadly, the kind of the crazy caucus has grown among the Republicans. Many Republicans who won primaries in deeply red districts are coming to Congress, like the Marjorie Taylor Greenes and the Paul Gosars.
McCarthy isn't the firebrand that the MAGA cult is bloodthirsty for. They are looking for personalities that mirror Donald Trump. Now, the question is, what happens when all these people rise to power without Trump looking over their shoulders? Do you think they'll continue to stand beside him, or slowly start to make their own name out of the mess that he left, just to throw him under the bus later? We all know that Donald Trump would do that to all of these people in a heartbeat. But what about his most loyal subjects? Will they still sing his praises when they have their own position and ability to influence without being attached to his name? And if they do turn on him, if the entire Republican Party just splits, I think we can all be sure that Donald Trump would run as an independent and take the entire party down with him in 2024. That's just a prediction, but I know it's on the minds of all of these folks. The more pressing matter is that Marjorie the Trainwreck Greene will more than likely have her committee seats back and never be held accountable again unless she crosses a line like Kanye West. She'll keep introducing articles of impeachment, keep screaming about non-existent issues, and really never deliver for her district. But she'll get the airtime that she really wants. And we've seen in the last few weeks that Marjorie Greene has really gone to bat for McCarthy, which really wasn't the story before. So you can imagine that she knows she's getting something out of this. She isn't doing anything out of the goodness of her heart, because that doesn't exist. McCarthy will never grow enough of a spine to actually keep Greene from orchestrating the things that she wants in the Republican Party, which, to be clear, is for it to become more extreme and dangerous and a party of traitors that would overthrow our democracy. The only real change we will see is when she is kicked out of office by her constituents, when they realize she has done nothing for them and will never actually serve anyone but herself and her big orange daddy, and that's a fact.
I have got to get to the airport, but I'm glad to talk to you about this. I do not know Nick Fuentes. I've never heard him speak. I've never seen a video. I don't know what his views are, so I'm not aligned with anything that may be controversial. What I can tell you is I went to his event last night to address his very large following, because that is it's a very young following, and it's a generation I'm extremely concerned about.
Now, first, I got to point out that it's hilarious how every time you catch these people red-handed, whether it be Marjorie Taylor Greene or Donald Trump explaining how they don't know who Nick Fuentes or any of these other people are, never heard of them, or people like Sam Bankman-Fried or, the heads of Wells Fargo, when they get put into the hot seat for, ripping people off of hundreds of millions or billions of dollars, it's always, oh, I didn't know, I had no clue. I'm just dumb. That's all it is. It's like, oh yeah, you, the person who's the head of the whole operation, the person in charge of everything going on here, the last person to say yes or no to things. You don't know what's going on. It's like, first you're the genius, now you're an idiot. So we're stuck to choose between the two because your only scapegoat is, well, I'm just dumb. Well, then I think that's a very strong argument that you shouldn't be in the position of power that you're in. If you ask me, I think that's a good argument for.
It's a white nationalist.
Excuse me a minute. I'll tell you exactly why I went. I went to talk to them about America First policies, and I talked to them about what's important for our country going forward. Now, in regards to Russia, Putin is a murderer, and he should have never invaded Ukraine. What he is doing is completely wrong. I stand with our NATO member allies, and I'm completely against this war.
It's a white nationalist
Excuse
group.
me, I'm going to finish. Everything that he's doing is wrong. He's killing people over and over. So I'm staunchly against it, and I'm staunchly against Vladimir Putin and his invasion of Ukraine.
And then, the biggest issue with the America First and the nationalism is nationalism creates a group of people who are acceptable and everyone else is the enemy, a way of cleansing the nation of all of its issues. That's just the way the thinking goes. And then you look at, programs like Fox News, Tucker Carlson, where he's openly talking about the Great Replacement Theory, where they're like, look at Ketanji Brown Jackson. And even Nick Fuentes, when he was laughing and he was talking about, they're trying as hard as they can not to say, look at this black woman, this is what America's coming to. Even he called them out for not really being honest with their racism.
It means, she's black. And if you're a white guy and you dream of becoming a Supreme Court justice, you're going to have to clerk for someone named Ketanji Brown Jackson. And so Charlie Kirk was like, he was like this close to saying, look at that black face. look at her black face and her name. That's what your country's going to look like.
I mean, that's what this is all about. It's about all these people are flooding into the country who don't belong here. All these criminals, we need to put them in prison, whether that be just black people in inner city neighborhoods. That's what the politics of the right wing in this country is. People like Marjorie Taylor Greene don't hide it whatsoever. It's just that Nick Fuentes is so extreme that even Ben Shapiro, people like him are like, whoa now. Hey now, we may be going a little bit too far. They're saying Milo Yiannopoulos, so I can't even say his name right, whatever. They saying, he brought Nick Fuentes to the Trump meeting on purpose because he's out for blood and out for vengeance. But whatever the issue, whatever the truth is, the Republican Party has fully embraced white right-wing nationalism. That's what they're about.
Another thing that is extremely important for me to say is the whole reason this is happening is because Joe Biden is a weak president. Now America is a weak country and our entire world is falling apart and we're seeing war erupt, which did not happen under President Trump because we had peace through strength. So this is something that we've got to really focus on, and I am appalled at our country for putting America last this way, making us depend on China, Russia, and foreign countries for our critical supplies and our energy.
Do you endorse Nick Fuentes' views?
Excuse me. I don't know what his views are. I've never...
He's a white nationalist.
I do not endorse those views.
And then literally the entire notion that, the war in Ukraine wouldn't have happened if Donald Trump was in office literally just comes from Donald Trump randomly saying that. It doesn't come from some, strong focus group where they really studied the ins and outs. No, it just came from Donald Trump saying it. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is still one of the people who's riding hardest for him, even though much of the rest of the Republican Party starting to turn on him because they see how big of a loser he's always been. But they see that going forward, they really just can't win with this guy. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's still fighting strong for him. Even though under Donald Trump, drone strikes continue to go up. I mean, the military-industrial complex really is not beholden to whatever president is in office. Obviously, the president, the commander-in-chief, has levies and strings that they can pull. But, the industrial complex is an organism and an animal in and of itself. So, again, drone strikes went up under Donald Trump. Donald Trump revoked the Iran deal that Barack Obama put into place. So the idea that he was somehow more peaceful when he's talking about the button on we got a bigger button than North Korea until, Kim Jong-un, gave him a little compliment. Now Donald Trump loves him, so that's all it really takes for that. But, again, the notion that there would have been strength and peace, it's all ridiculous. It's all stupid. It's just a white nationalist movement. And there's a lot of infighting within the Republican Party. And fortunately there is, because right now the Democratic Party really isn't doing that much in terms of legislatively. for the middle class moving forward into what's going to be a lame duck session.